from Screen Junkies Studios in the heart of Los Angeles, this is Screen Junkies Movie Fights. Now your host, Andy Signore. This episode is brought to you by T-Mobile. Now Netflix is included. Another reason why T-Mobile is America's best unlimited network. Switch today.
Hello, Screen Junkies. Welcome to another live episode of Movie Fights here every Thursday, 4 p.m. And I'm so excited because we're bringing something back we did a few months ago that was such a blast and warranted several fighters who've come back to fight. It's time for another debut deathmatch here on Movie Fights. Cut to our wide. We have 9 amazing new fighters who have never played this game before. Some of them played TV fights, but no one here has played movie fights. And you're all going to be jockeying for power, glory here to become a regular here on the show. The winner will have to come back and defend their title, so get excited. I hope you'll want to come back after you play it. But today you're going to be fighting some awesome stuff, including what franchise should Pennywise join? It is so popular now that they want to, come on, they're going to put him in something, or they're going to make an origin movie. It's going to happen whether we want it or not. What would be the best thing to do? What movie would be what's the worst original movie that got multiple sequels? What's the worst movie to make $1 billion at the box office? And a lot of other fun stuff, so stay tuned. You can follow along online on Twitter and such, or in the comments section here at #MovieFightsLive, or Dan Merle will be listening to your comments, chiming in. Hey Dan, this is me. Come on, right? Are you excited?
I'm always excited to see new faces here on Movie Fights. Someone that could maybe beat Spencer.
Our new champ.
Yeah,
exactly. Dan's no longer the champ.
No, I'm
For those
not.
who don't know, sadly.
It's all right.
But he'll get there.
Next
to Dan, I'm happy to have fan cam. Adam Tier, tell us about yourself. Adam, where are you from?
I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and just on vacation a little bit, and really happy that you guys let me come and watch the debut deathmatch.
Dude, I need your help, both of you guys. This is a tough one because they're going to come, I know, guns blazing, so help me make that call. Let's see who's fighting. Let's meet all our competitors. First up, she's the social writer here at Defy for Smosh Games. You've done some stuff for us news-wise and stuff. Mary Risk, welcome, Mary.
Hi.
How you feeling?
Feeling good. I'm really excited.
We pulled you from the office and got you in here to fight. I knew you had some nerd cred, so I was like, let's get Mary in here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to fight. I feel like I don't get to scream enough in my daily life. I'm really excited to
Let
integrate
it
that
out.
here. Sorry,
Let it
guys.
out.
We're about to get some real rage.
It's very therapeutic.
Very
therapeutic.
So excited.
Next up, he's the co-host of Top 10 Show. Matt Nose, welcome. Finally got you here on the show.
Thank you so much, and I'm glad we have a buffer if you're going to be screaming. That's beautiful. I've got 2 feet. That's not a problem. Thank you for having me. I've been here to do movie fights, so hopefully I can continue my winning streak from over there onto this show.
Yes, TV fights, you mean?
TV fights, yes. Sorry, apologize.
Yeah, no, we've had your fellow friend Roke on here a lot as well, but someday we'll have to get you to go toe-to-toe with him. We'll see.
Not a problem. I will destroy John Roca.
Did you hear that, John?
Not a problem, Roca.
At least the two of us.
Dan wants to get in on that too. Next up, he's the director of DC All Access, DC Kids. It's Brett Register. Welcome, Brett.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for
What
coming.
is this? You got 2 internal ringers right here?
Yeah?
You're throwing me in? All right.
No, well, he doesn't work for me.
No.
She doesn't really work for me, but she
That's
works
true.
near me.
Adjacent.
I haven't really met him. I know him well, but I met him, so it's a
see
fair
what you're
fight.
doing.
You
I
guys
see
will
what
be
you're
in
doing.
round
That's all I'm
1,
saying.
but then after that, we'll have 3 new fighters. Let's see. I want to introduce everybody just real quick, so make sure we give you all the super big plugs so you know who's fighting. From her show Movies with Meg on YouTube, it's Meg McCarthy. Hey, Meg! Welcome, Meg. How are you feeling?
So good. A little nervous. Feel like I might throw up, but I'm excited. I'm ready. Let's do this. Woo!
Woo! Next up, I'm so happy to have comedian, dancer, and AfterBuzz host. He was also a writer in Honest Trailers way back in the day. I don't know why. I'm going to bring you back to write some more if you're willing. Dave Child.
I am so full of information in my head, and I want it to leave. So I'm so excited to be here, and I'm too excited.
All right, all that information's leave. Will you push your mic over so they can share it next? I can't reach that far. Next up, she's hosted Hyper Otoko and partner at Twitch TV. It's Michelle Chubby Bunny Nguyen.
Hello, everybody. I'm Michelle. It's otaku. That's what anime
otaku.
nerds are called. Just remember it.
I'm the
But
worst anime fan. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's right. And I'm talking about Harry Potter later.
Oh, good.
Shoving that in.
Okay.
Shoving that
Yeah,
in.
we did a Harry Potter fights. Maybe you'll come back for round 2. If we'll see how you do today. So happy to have her. She's host of AfterBuzz. It's Yael Teigel. Hey, Yael.
Hello.
How you feeling? You've played TV fights.
I have played TV
You know how the
fights.
format works, at
I am
least.
so ready. So ready. You should all be scared.
Whoa.
Big words. Real scared myself. Big words.
Next up, I think he's the associate producer over at Schmoes Know and content manager at The Q. It's Ace Cabrera. It's
Hi,
Ace!
yeah, thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah,
I'm
how you
stepping
feeling?
up from. I'm good. I'm nervous, but I'm stepping up from TV fights, so hopefully Fingers crossed I do okay.
No pressure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know a lot of fans are excited to see here.
Hopefully do
Let's see how it does. But you'll have to get past this mad monster, the scariest man in the room, Mr. Evan McGar. What's up, Evan?
How's it going? Glad to be here.
Yeah, now, you've been on Screen Junkies show way back in the day. You are a horror fan. You know your stuff. You've been in this business enough. How are you feeling to come here and fight these people?
Another day, another fight.
Oh, I like it. He's playing tough over there. Look, he's just, I love it. He's psyching everyone out.
I'm a teddy bear.
It's a teddy bear. All right, good angle. All right, well, that's our fighters today. It's going to be a good fight. Stay tuned. These three are going to stay up here. The rest of you guys, if you don't mind, you'll sit over on the couch, and we'll get you in round 2 and round 3. And then the winner of this will win. And for everyone who's listening, the viewers will be voting for another person to get a second chance. You two will go head-to-head. So there is one rule, everybody. You are no longer allowed to tweet for votes. Okay? Because there will be polls and such. We are watching. If you vote and tell your fans mid-show to vote, you will be disqualified. Is that clear? Wow. I don't want a popularity contest. It's not about who has the bigger social media following. It's about who did the best argument. So no more campaigning. The campaigning stops. But you at home will be helping determine who makes this. So pay attention at home. Let's get to this, shall we?
Yes.
Yes.
What a lovely day! Are you not entertained? Let them fight.
Round 1. Guys, there's no real reason for this question. It just was asked, and I thought it was a good question. What's the worst original movie to get multiple sequels? Mary, we're going to you first. What's the worst original movie to get multiple sequels?
Okay, no brainer. Worst original movie is definitely Twilight. Not only is it a movie that should have never gotten sequels, it's a movie that should have never been made based on a book that should have never been written because Stephanie Myers herself admits it was based on a fantasy she had of her own life and potentially a masturbatory dream. So, I really think that those qualifications don't deserve a franchise. Also, Kristen Stewart is a dead fish. That's my main thing.
I don't know if any of us are going to be able to argue against that, but we'll see. Matt, what are you picking?
I chose Transformers. The worst, in my personal opinion. It's the only of all competitors that put forth options. The only one I had any expectation of wanting to see when it was announced. I was like, oh my God, CGI's gotten to a point where this could be an amazing movie. And Michael Bay, you know what? I enjoyed The Rock. He can make an excellent action film. And this film makes no sense from top to bottom. There are so many points in it where you're like, I don't understand what's going on. They violate the characters. Like, it's very simple. It's a simple template for numerous characters. And throughout, it's just like, yeah, I don't want to do that. We're going to do this other thing. It is absolutely ludicrous. It is beyond. It is the worst.
All right, Brett, what are you picking?
I picked Resident Evil because it's one of the all-time best horror games, and they made a mediocre sci-fi movie out of it. Beyond that, they kept making sequels, and they keep making sequels, so we've never really gotten a true Resident Evil movie. That's it.
All right, a good starters.
Try to keep it simple.
Guys, fight it out. Why is your movie the worst original movie that got multiple sequels?
Transformers is the worst because start simply with the Transformers themselves. Optimus Prime out of nowhere has a mouth. The first time you meet him, he's the only Transformer that does it. How do you violate the only thing? There's numerous points at that. They introduce a character, Jazz, who you've never heard of, and it is so racist, over the top. Like, what is he? He walks in and was like, what's up, bitches? And you're like, excuse me? There's a Transformer that cusses and is also racist. At one point, Bumblebee pops off a cod piece, which implies he has a penis, and pees on John Turturro. What is happening in this film? There's another point where Josh Duhamel will learn that fight with the Scorpion Transformer, and he grabs a cell phone and calls the Pentagon. Literally, gets on the phone with an operator and was like, I need the Pentagon, and they patch him through. Oh, I'm sorry, does the Pentagon just have an open number we can all call and just like, hey, put me in with NORAD. Yeah, just patch me through. I don't need security clearance or anything. Trust me, this movie does this repeatedly throughout. Just like, I don't have the slightest clue what's going on. This thing is a turd of a movie.
Okay, sure, but it has a plot. And I would say that having a plot at all is a really, important part of being a movie that launches a franchise. And the plot of Twilight is literally like, emo girl moves to emo town, meets supernatural emo dude, and they make 5 flippin' movies about it. That is too many movies for not having any plot. Also, I would like to point out, sure, he gets peed on, but that is some quality acting. You have some good actors.
From who?
Megan Fox.
The CGI character?
No. Megan Fox can act better with one tit than Kristen Stewart can with her entire body of work.
Please.
That is a dead soulless sad lady.
If you
and she
believe-
does not react to beautiful shovel face at any point through that entire film.
Nice reference. Sorry,
Thank you. But
There's no way. Shia LaBeouf and her, never in any universe did they end up. As soon as she meets
Shia LaBeouf
Josh
and Optimus
Duhamel
Prime,
and Tyrese
though.
Gibson,
That's a love story I'm
you
on
combine
board
those two
for.
people, that's Brian Austin Green. She
Yeah.
chooses one of the two of those over Shia LaBeouf.
yeah, I would
And-
still watch that than Twilight because that's still a better
But why
story.
did you have expectations going into Twilight? That's why Transformers is the worst. All of us, when that was announced, we all got excited.
Well, hang
and then
on.
this turd comes out and you're like, dear God.
Because that's a good point. So we all picked movies that are based on pre-existing properties, which isn't
Right.
surprising because that's how you launch a franchise. However, Twilight, I'm not going to sit here and argue it's a good movie because it's not.
It's a bad
However,
movie.
it's an accurate representation of the crappy book that it's based on.
It's not.
Boom.
It's
Transformers.
worse.
Yes, it is.
Have
Is
you
an
read the books?
accurate
Because
representation.
I have, and
I've read
it's
all the
worse.
books, so if you want to go
Oh
deep.
my God, have you really?
I've read all the
This is
books
really
and I've seen all the
exciting for me.
movies.
Exactly. There you go.
Damn.
We can get into
Okay,
that on a
okay.
different fight.
But yes, Resident Evil, a really wonderful property.
Book fights.
Great property.
Book fights. We've been
Book
talking
fights.
about
Book
it.
fights.
I don't know.
That sounds like a
Sadly,
Screen
who-
But hold
Junkies
on,
show.
because Twilight is a good movie adaptation of a bad book. Transformers is a good movie adaptation of the experience I had as a kid playing with my Transformers. Resident Evil is not a good representation of what it's based on.
Show
Okay,
me, show
but
me
let's talk about-
a good video game movie. Show me one. Show me one. Why did you have
Well,
any expectations? Whereas with comic book, like
Because
anything that was,
Resident
Yeah.
Evil is easy to get right. It's a haunted house story that devolves into a really interesting sci-fi story. So if you put all the sci-fi up front, it doesn't work, but it's simple.
Yeah,
they
but-
needed to make a horror movie. It's the easiest genre to get right because the fans give it so much leeway.
But
so it
Transformers-
should be the only video game movie
Transformers
that makes sense.
should be the easiest. You have 100-foot robots fighting. How is that not entertaining? And I was bored.
Well, I
in
mean,
the
I
movie.
think that's the point. I
Bored.
think that both of those films actually have entertainment value. I can guarantee right now that you would watch Transformers or Resident Evil right now over sitting through 5 fucking Twilight movies.
No. Transformers is
Like, that's
Here's the
100%
deal.
guaranteed.
I did sit through 5 Twilight
And you
movies,
regret
but
it.
I only watched the first, I think, 3 Resident Evil movies, and I had to get out. It's also, they didn't even use
Also-
the main characters
well,
from the
here's the
game in the
thing.
first movie.
A big thing with film is that it's a collaborative medium, and so when you're looking at whether a movie is good or bad, you can't just say, did I enjoy this film? You have to say, were the artisans working on this film doing their best work? And you look at something like Transformers, which has incredible CGI, which, like, soundtrack is pretty okay. Like, it had some good actors. There's some pretty people in it. You look at Resident
The
Evil.
Transformers soundtrack?
Yeah,
You know
soundtrack.
what?
That's what you're
We're
like.
going
Yeah.
really
Not
deep.
the worst.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
my
We're going
point.
so deep.
These are all bad movies. Resident Evil. I mean, you've got some like really cool girls doing like some fucking action sequences. I'm so sorry. I will stop cursing. There is
It
a
went
lot
from
of
flipping to that's a real one.
there is a lot of like incredible artisan work that goes into those movies with costumes and cinematography. In Twilight, you have sparkling vampires playing baseball. That is no one's best work. No one can pretend that they're proud of what they did on Twilight. There's literally not a plot. There's no story. And they made 5 of them. And there were only 4 books.
Well, they made 5 of them.
More movies than they had source material.
They made 5 of them because they made money. They made 5 of them because
these
there was,
all made
there was
money. Well, maybe
content
not
that
Resident
supported
Evil,
it. Resident Evil, they made fucking, I think they're up to 45. Sorry.
I think they're on 5. They're
They
on
asked
5 as
first
well.
if they were allowed, and they
Yeah.
They're on
I haven't
number
so far.
45.
There's a point in
Try
my
to
corner.
avoid it. Sorry.
Sorry. And none of them have been anywhere close to the original game. And that's kind of my biggest argument is they keep making them, which pushes the actual Resident Evil movie we need and we deserve further away.
Yeah, but part of the question is the worst original. It's also the worst original for Transformers because it has spawned a cottage industry of crap.
As has
There are
Twilight.
2 follow-ups that grossed over $1.2 billion, which puts them higher than 15 countries as far as GDPs in the world. 2, and they're terrible. Like every year when that's announced, I imagine somebody at the Razzies office just opens up a Word document that has a keyboard shortcut for Transformers makes it for without having seen it 6 months out. That's gonna be on the worst. It's continually, it's always in the discussion for worst movie of the year every time it comes out.
Sure, and Transformers has spawned a lot of really crappy stuff, but did it spawn 50 Shades of Grey? Because Twilight did, and that is
Please.
some really terrible content.
Yeah, but Twilight, like 20 years ago, Twilight would have been cast with Fabio. Like Twilight has existed and will exist thereon like forever. Whereas
That doesn't make it better.
No,
the
but-
fact that that's like saying sexism is fine because it's existed forever. Like
But you're
literally, it
saying
doesn't make it better.
Twilight
it's a terrible
birthed
movie.
50 Shades of Grey, which the fans of Twilight
Yes.
love. It actually created a new franchise. franchise.
That's also terrible.
That all fits within
so if
a
we're
very
talking
specific
about, but the problem
audience.
with this very specific audience. Okay, so even if you're saying, okay, we're going for teenage girls. Well, let's look at what we're teaching teenage girls in Twilight, because literally Edward's like, I'm gonna kill you, and she's like, let's date, and that is not good. We should not be teaching teenage girls to go after axe murderers that can smell them from 500 miles away.
First of all,
and read
all
their
teenage
thoughts.
girls should.
That's insane.
Nobody should use Twilight
But
as
they
a
do.
point of reference of anything to
Which
do in
makes
their
it
life.
even worse
At no
because
time,
that's what
though.
it's there. Like if Twilight is the movie you have for the teenage women and the people who like those things, if that's the only movie you have and that's the one you have to look at, that can't be the one that spawns 4 more movies because it's so bad.
That's based on the book. They're taking it and they're just like, all right, here's the outline from the book,
Yeah,
and
as
this is
far
how
as
the
the
story
movie-
goes.
Worse than the books,
Doesn't
you
matter.
guys.
That's the
As
book
far as a
template.
movie based on a
Yeah.
book, it might be one of the best ones because it nails
No,
every
absolutely
single
not.
From a guy that
page.
read the books.
Another
From a
movie.
guy that read
Every
the books.
page.
There's a woman that
There's no
read the
Twilight
books.
fans that read the book, and it's like it's missing the weird piano scene. No, that's in the movie.
That's because nothing
They nailed
happens
it.
in the books.
But in
When you-
Transformers, like nothing makes sense in it. Even the rules
Sure it does.
in normal
There's a map,
society.
it's on some glasses.
Does
Sam
that
gets
makes
it,
sense? So
finds a hot girl.
It
When
somehow
when
just the
Sam-
laser etches the glasses
Sure,
and
totally.
when
Space
Wiki
robots,
walks away.
dude. We're talking space
You're
robots.
talking vampires. How is your argument any more
They're
valid?
sparkling vampires.
All right, hold on. I'm not done, but just want to rein it in. All right,
okay.
because this is a good opening. Yeah, you guys are bringing it. Did not disappoint. I'm having trouble because I'm hearing good things from all three of you. So I just need to let's get refocused here on your final thoughts as we go around. Why is your movie worse than the other two? And it can be about the movie itself, the franchise it created, et cetera, et cetera. But you've sold me. All three of your movies suck. I believe you. But you got to give me in your closing. Why is your movie worse than the other two? And we're going to come back to you, Mary. Final thoughts. Go ahead.
Okay, the reason Twilight is the worst. Number 1, way too many women look at it as a real representation of what life should be. Number 2, it's a masturbatory fantasy that was made into a 5-feature franchise, and that's insane. Number 3, it has Anna Kendrick in it, and that's just not fair to Anna Kendrick, because I really like Anna Kendrick. And what is she doing as the angry, mean girl in Twilight? I don't know. Stop ruining people's careers with Twilight. Also, Taylor Swift's ex-boyfriend is in it.
Ruined that
I'm not
birthed
gonna
Anna
use his
Kendrick.
real name.
Yeah.
That
You know,
gave us
It
Anna.
gave her a higher
I think
profile.
Anna
Now
Kendrick gave
we can
us
thank
Anna
it.
Kendrick,
We can
you
thank
know?
this
Well,
movie
absolutely.
series.
I'm just gonna say, axe murderers is not a good relationship model to follow, and let's stop teaching our tweens that.
All right, Matt. Final thoughts as to why Transformers is worse than the other two.
Transformers is the worst because I, like most of the people or guys in this room, grew up loving 3 cartoons. 3. And we've seen over the years that you can elevate something that was meant for kids into adults. Look at The Dark Knight. Look at Captain America Civil War. You can take something that is, it's predicated upon the belief that it's only for kids and make it for kids, for adults, for all ages. And Transformers just fails on that at every point, and it also fails in itself. It sets up rules for the real world and the fictitious world with the Transformers that don't make any sense. It just violates itself left and right. It throws out any kind of rules or order or ideas and just says, I am going to make more explosions, and guess what? That's just going to blow people away from having to follow any kind of plot, any kind of story, care about any of these characters. It does. I mean, it is disgusting, because the worst part is it has now destroyed that franchise for a future generation because they believe that it's just crappy movies, that there isn't a wealth of source material that we all grew up on and loved and know there's an amazing movie in there somewhere, whereas now we just have, once again, a cottage industry of crap. And Michael Bay is just going to continue to crank out turd after turd after turd because explosions sell tickets, and that's all that matters.
Brett, final thoughts.
Well, bottom line is Resident Evil was one of my favorite games, and it was one of the most unique experiences I had had at that point in gaming. We had a few PC games, we had Seventh Guest and Phantasmagoria that did the horror genre, but none of it that had the impact and scares that Resident Evil had. So then to give that franchise to Paul W.S. Anderson to make a movie that is so heartless and soulless and devoid of the original content, it's right up there with the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's the only parallel I can make. So what I'm saying is Resident Evil is as bad as the Super Mario Brothers movie, which would have been my pick if they had subjected us to more sequels to that movie.
All right, there we go. Dan, Coming to you first. Thoughts, things to add, and thoughts, and then Adam, I'll get your thoughts too quickly.
Some things that were pointed out by people watching. Problem Child. There's a guy, David Wilson on Twitter, has a bone to pick with Problem Child. Baby Geniuses, Alvin and the Chipmunks. Many terrible franchises. I think for me, Mary advances easily. I think she did a very good job of proving why Twilight was a terrible movie. So if we have to pick one to eliminate in this run. It's not one person gets the point, right? We have to pick one person that's going away.
No,
correct?
one person gets the point.
One person gets the point. For me,
and then
Mary,
viewer's choice will get the second point.
For me, Mary would get the point only because I thought Mary stayed very focused on why the movie Twilight was bad, and I thought that both Matt and Brett got a little of their argument a little commingled in with the adaptation and their love for the original, and if it had been worst adaptation, yes, but
Adam, chime in, but here's where I was worried because I thought she got so hung up on it. Oh, real women look up to it, but then they got her pretty hard. And it's a great adaptation of a bad book. So as a worse, where Matt surprised me with more of it's explosions, not plot, and it's destroyed. It's created a whole cottage industry. He got me a little bit more razzy as to why Transformers as a platform is actually worse. Whereas whether we like Twilight or not, it did what the fans of the book wanted it to. Whereas I don't know, so I'm torn. But a fair, interesting thought. Just Adam, real quick, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Matt got the point on this one. Brett was a little bit caught up on the source material.
Yeah, I think a little too much in love with that game and movie, not the movie.
But I think Matt had a good balance between source material and why it's a bad movie, and then the Razzies comment where you can just it's just going to be a terrible movie. That kind of sealed the deal for me.
Yeah, I don't want to go against you, Dan, but if you agree with me, Adam, I'm going to take that into heart and give Matt the first point. So, Matt, you move on to a round, but that's not over. You guys now can vote. Do you disagree? Do you agree with Dan there and think Mary should have gotten that point? You can go vote for Mary now, or you can vote for Brett if you think he made the better argument. The winner of the fan vote will come for the last round to get a second chance to go against the speed round of the other winner. So, Mary and Brett, it's not over yet. Very good job. Do not go tweet. You're not allowed to go tweet and tell people. It's only people watching. I want to go vote.
I'm watching.
They have your initials
Tweet
up.
free.
It's MR and BR, I believe. I hope that happened. MR for Mary and BR for Brett to who should get the second chance.
How are they voting? I don't think we've told them how to vote.
There's a second poll on Twitter that they are supposed to put up. David, I hope, put up because he told me he was going to put up. That has the initials MR versus and then option 2 BR, and you're voting for who should get the second chance to come back and fight again. Who gave the better argument based on the arguments? Thank you guys. All of you can step out. Matt, we'll see you again, and hopefully, Mary and Brett, one of you is going to come back. Let's go to round 2. I need to bring in our next fighters. Let's bring in Meg McCarthy, Dave Child, and Michelle. Come on up, guys.
Good job, guys. Good job. Good job, guys. Good job.
Ooh, my note card already says notes.
Meg, Dave, Michelle. Yes, there's no cards if you need, and pens if you need
pens,
them.
yes.
There we go.
Pens.
Dan, if that voting doesn't end up happening, let me know.
Yeah, it's on the Screen Junkies Twitter.
Yeah, it should be on Screen Junkies Twitter. All right. Welcome back, guys. Excited to have you. Meg McCarthy, you ready to do this?
I am, I think. Yes, let's
All right,
do it.
Dave Child, welcome back.
Oh, yeah.
Get that energy out.
Oh,
You've been
I
holding it
have
up.
too much energy.
Oh,
boy.
Chubby
I hope
Bunny,
you got this
Michelle.
mic.
Hi.
Are you ready to do this? Any questions before we begin?
No.
All right, question 2, round 2. What franchise would be most improved by adding Pennywise? You know, after the success of this hit movie, we are not going to see just one Pennywise movie. We will see many. I think that's fair to bet. We want you guys to pitch. Can be creative, can be real, can be funny. I will judge funny too. Creative, whatever you got. Let's hear what would be which franchise would be most improved if you made a movie with Pennywise. And we're starting with you this time, Dave Child.
Okay, listen, there is a franchise that is now 21 years old. It's old enough to drink, so it should be old enough to appeal to their older audiences. And that is Pokemon. And guess what? Pennywise is basically a Pokemon.
Wow, look.
His name is Pennywise. For one, he'll be a whole lot bigger than that. He'll probably be more like Mewtwo. He's a powerful psychic Pokemon already. You can make the argument that he's already in that franchise. All they need to do is make a live-action horror Pokemon movie, and guess who it should star? It should star Pennywise. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm arguing here today.
All right. Michelle.
Hi.
Hi, what are you picking?
I'm picking the world of Harry Potter. Imagine in a world where Voldemort has been approached as a child by Pennywise is his name, and Pennywise makes a deal. He's like, you know what, Voldemort, you're not so bad. You're also hunting down children. I'm gonna come back in a little bit. I'm gonna help you out. So when Voldemort returns to hunt down the trio, look at these cute little babies. He's gonna come along with them, and he's gonna take their souls and make them all floats. So in my perfect world, Pennywise would join the Harry Potter cast and wreak havoc on the magical worlds of the Harry Potters.
All right, we'll hear more. That sounds great. So far, 2 very interesting pitches. Meg, what are you pitching?
All right, it's about to get real crazy. I'm pitching that Pennywise improves Suicide Squad, okay? The main reason is to be the Joker's brother, all right? 2 things that were wrong with Suicide Squad. The characters were one note, and the plot was like, meh. You have these amazing comic book characters, right? And you're bringing them to the big screen, and we don't really get anything new and different, all right? But I hate to say it, Jared Leto was right. It needed to be more artistic. And the way to make things more artistic is to give things more depth, to give characters more layers. And you know how you do that? Family drama. Let's see why these 2 guys chose the red lipstick life. I want to know. I want to know how they went from men or boys to clowns. Let's do this.
All right, we got Suicide Squad, Pokemon, and Harry Potter. Fight it out, guys.
Okay, first thing I want to say is adding another killer clown to Suicide Squad will not solve Suicide Squad. It'll just be another killer clown. Also, Pennywise is no one's brother because he is an ancient monster that has fallen onto the earth and is buried under Derry. And who is his arch nemesis? In the books, I don't know if they're going to use this in part 2, but in the books, his arch nemesis is a giant cosmic turtle. What does that sound like? It sounds like a Pokemon. He's basically fighting Squirtle the entire time.
Agree, but I also gotta say that Pokemon does not fit in the world of Pokemon either. Because if you put Pennywise in a Pokemon movie, what does it do for the franchise? Nothing. It completely changes it. The question here is, what franchise will be most improved? So if you're gonna completely change the franchise,
Logan. It'll be the Logan of the Pokemon world. It'll be the dark, edgy movie for the adults.
Are adorable, and they evolve. And Pennywise is not cute at all.
Also, think about the franchise. Franchise as a whole. Pokemon is also a video game system, which also means Pokemon Go. Imagine playing Pokemon Go. You're out in the dark.
That's not the
and
question. The question is about the movie. So which one are you even talking about?
The question is about the franchise.
Exactly, franchise, guys. And you guys just said what would be most improved. Harry Potter is killer. We don't need to improve it. Pokemon
everything can be improved. If you add
Suicide Squad,
Pennywise
Hold on. You finish your thought there, Meg.
We need to improve Suicide Squad. Yes, okay, supernatural stuff. But guess what's in Suicide Squad? Supernatural stuff. We can fit this in. Maybe he was possessed. Maybe Pennywise is a child.
Clown?
Hold on, who was he? Who was he as a child? And he came, maybe he got possessed, and that's when he became Pennywise, the supernatural.
Maybe.
Who was Pennywise before Pennywise?
He was
a man. He was a child.
No, he was a spider scorpion monster that lives under Derry. There's a whole book about
it. In canon, he's just like a supernatural.
Guys, we're talking about franchise. We're talking about films here. We're talking about the movie It. Okay, he already scared children. He ate children. You guys, we already saw it. We saw him kill it.
You see him have mantis hands
out
of nowhere,
but I think he would fit in the world of Harry Potter better
Pokemon.
than your choices of the world. Because in Harry Potter, we have a bunch of people chasing after children. The stakes are really high.
That already exist. It's redundant.
He would fit in that franchise, though. He would improve it and make it better.
Redundant.
Why do we need to improve it?
Let her talk. Go ahead.
Let's do this.
So I think it would improve the franchise because it would add more gory action. Yeah, sometimes kids go here and there and they get magic to death and just kind of burn and die. But here we have kids being torn apart limb by limb by Pennywise. So I think if you add him to Harry Potter, it adds this whole other dimension. It makes the stakes even higher. It adds more spooky drama. And then it'd be magic versus a centuries-old beast, a whole being. So I think that'd be a whole other arc in the Harry Potter series. It really improves the franchise.
Fine, but you know what? You have a kid. Pokemon has a primary kid audience. So does Harry Potter.
Not
you guys
anymore.
are ruining kid dreams.
Not anymore.
You guys are ruining kid dreams.
See, here's the thing.
Suicide Squad. Excuse me, guys. Suicide Squad has a more broader audience. We got adults in there.
No one watched the movie.
Exactly.
It's just for
guys,
adults.
She just said it. No one watched the movie. Why? Because we need Pennywise in it.
Listen, okay, Harry Potter has matured with its audiences. It's gotten darker and darker and darker, and that's what Pokemon can do now. Pokemon can get darker and it can get there. Also, the thing with Harry Potter is it already has creatures that feed off fear and despair. spare. Those are called Dementors. It also has Voldemort, who's also a really badass villain. It doesn't need another
That's
villain.
true.
It doesn't need a darker villain.
Enchantress, terrible villain, you guys. Okay.
True, but what they need to do is
Pokemon.
just improve the killer clowns they have, not add more killer clowns to the mix. That's not going to do it.
You
They
guys,
don't
that
need
makes it
more
a killer
characters in
clown
Suicide
frenzy.
Squad.
Everyone loves a killer clown. Let's do this. Also
Pokemon.
for Pokemon,
There's no clowns.
If
Mr.
people are
Mime,
playing
there's
the
a clown.
game-
He's an animal, though. He's not a person.
Yeah, but he's a Pokemon, and that's what I'm saying.
gonna
Pennywise
scare
is.
people.
He's a giant,
Like-
scary.
Wait, is Mr.
super
Mime a
powerful-
clown or not?
Mr.
He's
Mime is a Pokemon that looks like a clown.
but
But
he's
he's
not
an
a human
animal.
person.
Well, there you
Is
go.
it a clown animal?
He's a
There you go.
Pokemon.
Will you look
so
at Mr. Mime, Dan?
It
Mr.
exists.
Mr. Mime is a Pokemon that
Mime
has.
Pokemon?
So what you're
Is he a
sugge-
clown animal or what?
But what you're suggesting is
Clown
changing,
I know.
is changing Pennywise from a human form into a force of nature into like a little.
He'll look
thing.
exactly
so
the
you're
same.
basically changing the whole character of Pennywise.
He'll
So what's
look
the point of bringing him
exactly-
back?
Exactly. Is he going to be in the games?
This-
Are people
let
going to
me-
walk around
if you're
and
asking,
bump
I'll
into
explain.
Pennywise?
If you're asking me, okay, this is what's going to happen in the Pokemon Dark movie. There's a stuttering.
Dark
hold on.
movie?
There's
Hold
a
on,
stuttering dark. There's a stuttering trainer who is lonely. He doesn't have any friends. So who does he get? He gets all the dorky Pokemon that are around. This is all live action, so you'll see them. He'll get Coughing, who has asthma problems. He'll get Magikarp, who's just Magikarp. Snorlax is picked on because he's a fatty. So he gathers all these Pokemon, but there's a dark force taking over the town. It could be Derry or it could be a new place. Maybe he moved over. And it turns out they find Pennywise. He is a Pokemon. He's always been a Pokemon. He's more powerful than Mewtwo, even, who they made a movie about, who is a psychic Pokemon.
I don't even know Pokemon.
We're
I know
getting
Mewtwo's a
deep
big deal.
Pokemon right now.
I'm just
Deep
saying.
Pokemon.
I think if Pennywise is a Pokemon, he'll be a psychic type. He'll be a super powerful psychic type. He'll change his form according to what he feeds off of. He already is a Pokemon. There's a giant cosmic turtle.
He's not a
he fights.
Pokemon. He's a force of nature.
I heard enough from you. I'm using that as your final thoughts.
Okay.
You're good. Michelle, give me a little bit more. Why Harry Potter over these two would be the franchise more improved?
So with the Suicide Squad, if you add Pennywise to Suicide Squad, he would get lost in the menagerie of already crappy villains. It would just get lost. There's just so much character and so many random things happening in that movie. It would get lost. It wouldn't improve the movie at all. And Pokemon, it doesn't fit the whole universe of the franchise. The franchise itself is bright, colorful, primary colors, and it's for little kids. That's just what the franchise is. Totally changing it wouldn't improve it. For me, it would improve my franchise because it's adding to an already great villain cast. He would fit right in with all the other horrible things that exist for these kids that they're fighting. He'd add an extra spooky element, and it would also add a little bit more battle action to Harry Potter that is kind of missing. There's only a lot in like the last movie, but if you add Pennywise, you would get lots more gore real quick. It would get real super, super fast.
All right, Meg, final
All right,
thoughts why yours is better?
We don't need more gore in Harry Potter. Those films are perfect. It is a great franchise. The question was, which franchise would be most improved, you guys? We need Suicide Squad to be more improved. That is the root of the question here, all right? And there's so much we can do. Picture Pennywise joining Suicide Squad, a militarized Pennywise. That'd be so badass. He even fits in the key art. You can see it. You can see the poster. Also, Pennywise lives in New Hampshire near that haunted house, all right?
Maine.
He needs to be close. He can be close to Gotham City. He's not British. You
Maine.
can have Pennywise with a British accent. I mean, we can't do that. That's not a fit here.
I think a force of nature could just travel-ish.
No,
over.
but I
It's
just
fine.
don't. I don't feel like there's.
Oh,
I feel
this
like this. I
time.
can't picture him with a British accent. I feel like it's a deal breaker for me. You guys, it would be so fun to add him to Suicide Squad. We're getting a standalone Joker movie. This could be the little tease that we needed. There's something to get us like revved up for that, to understand why the Joker is the way he is. It's because of family drama. What happened?
He already has a backstory though.
All right. Ooh, good pitches there. Let's go.
Sorry for the yelling.
No, it's all great. Adam, I'm going to come to you first. What do you think?
It came down to me for the counter arguments and being able to defend themselves, and I think Dave knocked down everything. As weird as it is, any punch they had, he counterpunched back. So
yeah, when he said Dementors are redundant, that was a valid point. Doesn't need more villains. He did have a lot of those points. Dan, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna channel my inner Randy Jackson a little bit and say that this is kind of rough for me, dog. But
rough for me, dog. Yeah.
I was feeling the same thing. nobody landed a real knockout blow for me, but it came down to the fact that Dave seemed to have considered every angle of his choice.
Too much information. Too much thought.
Given the fight in total, I have to give the edge to that. It just seemed like the most well thought out of the choices. So,
but it was a close second. So, Dave, I'm moving you on to the next round. I'm shocked. I did not think that would happen, to be perfectly honest. But you did come to kill. But Michelle, Meg, both really good arguments, and now you at home will be able to determine who moves on to the next round. MM for Meg, or MN for Michelle and Harry Potter. You can go vote now. Don't no tweeting. But you at home, if you watched the fight and you thought who gave the better argument, MM for Meg, MN for Michelle on the Twitter poll that'll go up right now. Thank you guys. Dave, we'll see you in a minute, and we'll see one of you back. Bravo. Let's bring up our next fighters. Wow, this has been a good show. You guys, I love it. Thank you for bringing it. Yell, come on up. Eben and Ace. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Well, you're the next fighters on Movie Fights. Here we go. We have a Twitter question coming in. Eben, you're in the middle. Ace, you're in the end. This comes in from I Hated Chad So Hard on Twitter. Tyga, welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, how you feeling? You guys got a little bit of the answers. You got to watch some.
Yeah.
You see how heated it's got. No pressure now.
It's so scary.
You're in a shrinking
Extra
seat
pressure.
too.
Yeah, I'm in a baby chair. What's this about?
You can lift it up. There's a switch. It should push you up if you stand up while I talk.
I might just stand.
Yeah, you can stand. Eben, Mad Monster, you ready to bring it?
Yeah, I gotta move this chair. This is
You can stand. You can lift this up too. It goes up there if you want to lift it up a little higher.
I think I'm all right. You can hear me, right?
Yes. Ace,
Yeah.
you ready? Feeling
ready.
good?
Oh, yeah.
No pressure because that was 2 strong rounds.
I think that adds pressure, Andy. I think it adds a lot of pressure.
It's like you don't know
I
how this
feel
game
more
works.
pressure.
All right, here we go. This comes in from I Hated Chad So Hard. Best surprise. This is in honor of best surprise cameo in any movie, not on poster or opening credits. That's how it has to be a surprise cameo. Best surprise cameo in any movie. This is the rumor that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is apparently in The Last Night. It's not The Last Night. The Last Jedi. Transformers is on my brain still. I don't know why. The Last Jedi, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is apparently in that as a surprise cameo. Not a surprise now because everyone ruins everything. But we wanted to ask who is the best surprise cameo in any movie. It's up to you now, Ace. We're moving around there. First
let's
up,
do it.
Who is the best surprise cameo?
I picked Bill Murray in Zombieland. I feel like this one not only combines the 2 comedic elements, I feel like the best part of it is that he's playing Bill Murray, which is something that I'll get into eventually. But yes, I feel like overall this is just completely hilarious cameo.
All right, Yale.
So, what makes a good cameo is something that is unexpected, it's quick, and it doesn't detract from the story. That's why I picked Bob Saget in Half Baked. I'll argue more later.
Oh, she's playing that card. Eben, who are you picking?
Hands down, Johnny Depp and Peter DeLuise in 21 Jump Street.
Oh, all right, Johnny Depp and Peter DeLuise. All right, fight it out, guys.
So here's the thing about your choices, guys. So Bill Murray, his storyline, as funny as it was, detracts from the story. All of a sudden, we're dealing with Bill Murray, and then we got to deal with his death. Spoiler. And the problem with that is that it takes away from the story. Whereas Bob Saget appears, says an iconic line, which I've chosen not to say because children watch. But he comes on, he does this thing, and then you get to remember this beautiful thing that happened. It doesn't take you out of the story. He gets shouted this line all the time in his personal life. Now, it's so memorable. We all know it now. We're saying it in our heads. I don't have to say it out loud, but that's the problem with both of your choices. Johnny Depp and Peter DeLuise, we knew they were coming back to 21 Jump Street. They are 21 Jump Street. That wasn't surprising. We knew it was going to happen.
Cool.
That's why Bob Saget.
I feel like you make an interesting point. I feel like cameos, the biggest thing about cameos personally, and I feel like for everyone watching, is the comedic value. Especially because all 3 of our movies are funny movies. I think the best thing a cameo can bring is comedy, and who better to do that than Bill Murray?
Bob Saget.
Bob
Saget is the answer.
Bill Murray is considered one of the most funny mans in Hollywood of all time. Also, the fact that he's playing Bill Murray, whereas your 2 versions are playing a character, which is funny, it's cute, it's short, it's 10 seconds long, but mine is playing an actual Hollywood icon who makes fun of himself. who brings callbacks to his old movies like Caddyshack with the club hitting him in the back, and actually playing Ghostbusters and reenacting a Ghostbusters scene with Emma Stone and Woody Harrelson. It's the combination of Woody Harrelson's reaction, his death scene, which is hysterical, which is so funny because he's showing up there to actually prank a guy and then get shot. That to me is just funny. And the fact that he's like one of 6 survivors in the entire planet and he survived the zombie apocalypse by acting, that to me is just comedy all in a nutshell, and it just adds to the comedic value of an already funny movie with an already funny cast.
It would be great if he was part of the story and that's what it was.
But he was part of the story.
That's the problem.
Whereas
It's supposed to be a cameo. A cameo is supposed to be quick, it's supposed to be funny, it's supposed to be memorable. But it's supposed to stick in the back of your head and not distract you from the movie.
You want to say? No. I will let them go for a second.
No, but my thing with Bob Saget, it may fall into the trap of too quick. He says one line and disappears, whereas there's a good 2 minutes.
All right, this is silly. All right, here's the thing. With all due respect, I don't think you've made a point for me to make a counterpoint, so I kind of feel it's between us. So, I mean, no, I say that, all due respect. Zombieland, it's a good pick. In fact, it was my second pick, okay? And, you know, Bill Murray was also the writer's second pick. They wanted Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze got sick, so we got Bill Murray. You know, it was cute because you got to see a celebrity play himself. That could have been anyone. If that was Eddie Murphy, whoever, it's just interchangeable. You plug it in. What's brilliant about the Johnny Depp cameo, and yes, I say brilliant, you said you saw it coming. Here's the thing. Yeah, everyone was wondering, what is this? Is this a reboot? Is this continuing continuity? Johnny Depp insisted that they bring back Peter DeLuise. He insisted that they both come back in order for him to do this.
Yeah.
If you got Hansen, you got Doug Penhall. That's just awesome. Besides that, first act, they give it to you. You talk about enhancing story or whatever, there's the story. We sat there and they Andy Kaufman'd us. You know, boom, when they reveal that these are the original characters, we watch these iconic characters, spoiler, get killed. So, you know, you're satisfying the original fans and you're getting them killed off by the incompetence of our current fans.
Yeah, but the benefit of the Bob Saget cameo is that you didn't see it coming, it was funny, and it didn't detract from the story, whereas everyone knew...
I'll give you 2 of the 3. Well, here's the thing. It doesn't detract from this. Again, it's a throwaway.
It's a cameo. He's supposed to appear, be funny, and then disappear and not ruin your story that you're following.
I feel like Bill Murray actually gave something that made a funny movie funnier. It made it even better.
Again, but what did he bring to the table that Eddie Murphy or anyone else couldn't do?
Again, I said the Caddyshack Ghostbusters scene,
but
reenacting
it's comedy and comedy. Here's the thing: you're taking a reboot, which, you know, there's this trend of taking like semi-pseudo serious properties and turning them into goofy comedies. So you had Penhall and Hansen return, true to their characters, in this wacky, zany comedy, and I just feel like, you know, it melded 2 genres that worked.
I think it made it funnier, but my thing about the 21 Jump Street one, and I feel like I'm going to give my age with this, but to be completely honest, I don't think I'm the only one who said, oh, Johnny Depp's in this movie. Cool. Why is he in this?
But that's what's amazing.
Are you kidding?
21 Jump Street's before my time. I didn't know about the original.
Too, but I know that when you say 21 Jump Street,
I saw Johnny Depp.
So hold on. As the old man at the table, I'll just say straight up, Johnny Depp. Okay, for us horror fans, everyone's like, Johnny Depp, Nightmare on Elm Street. That's pretty badass. You know, he made his bones on 21 Jump Street.
Exactly.
Which was
I didn't see.
That's
a lot of people didn't see.
Which is why we knew he was going to be in the movie.
But you didn't know he was reprising his role. You didn't know that you'd already seen him in the act. And the other thing is, you have this international superstar going back to his roots and bringing a friend.
It felt like the Johnny Depp and Peter DeLuise appearance in 21 Jump Street felt a lot like David Hasselhoff in Baywatch. You saw that it was going to come. You knew it was going to be reference to the old stuff. You knew it was going to be boring, and he was going to just be there, being like
Bob Saget playing against type from the Family Matters.
Here's my thing. Your pick, Bob Saget. It's real.
So am my age.
The Bob Saget one's real quick. The Johnny Depp one is like, oh, it's Johnny Depp.
And
I feel like the Bill Murray one made a funny movie funnier. It made callbacks to his original films and made callbacks to Ghostbusters and gave Woody Harrelson legendary lines.
I'm just saying, I'm with the Zombieland writers. He would have been my second choice too. Patrick Swayze was pretty inspired. Too bad he got sick.
It also wasn't the story that they were originally going to go with. It was going to be a lot more action. But I don't want to do that.
That's exactly.
We're arguing based on the film, not what could have been.
Sure.
So I feel like what the film did with Bill Murray
was wasting our time during a movie we were trying to watch.
Or made it funnier and made an actual legendary, well-known cameo that a lot of people regard as the best cameo ever because it's a comedic actor. It's a comedic actor actually,
in a comedy. Oh, groundbreaking!
But making it funnier. All three of us picked us comedies.
No,
we
what
picked
it is,
comedies
it's a guy
and we want to make it better.
It's a guy that was a comedy legend who, at the time, started having a reputation for being this bitter guy at the Oscars, you know. And I feel like his PR guy said, "Hey, why don't we show people you can still be funny?" Oh, guess what? Good news. Patrick Swayze got sick, so
but
you get a role.
It made him funnier, and it made it fit into the story. He's one of the last people in the zombie apocalypse left because he's acting like a zombie. That's hysterical. His death is hysterical.
That's hysterical?
Yes, it is. And
All
the
right.
fact that he's dressing up as a Ghostbuster and actually reenacting a legendary movie that I feel like everyone up here can agree is a legendary movie, Ghostbusters.
That one, yes.
And reenacting the movie
Yeah, we can do
and
that.
saying that it's hysterical.
We found a point we all agree on.
Everyone knows who Bill Murray is, and I feel like that gave this funny edge to the movie that the other two don't give. Bob Saget was too quick, and Johnny Depp was
You guys had
like,
an advantage.
oh,
You
it's
guys
Johnny
basically,
Depp.
you guys had these tagged on non sequiturs that were interchangeable. You could take anyone. Basically, 21 Jump Street came at you, and they said, yeah, everyone's expecting our obligatory cameos. So what they did is they mixed it up. They pretty much slipped it in and let you know, hey, you guys already saw these guys. They were undercover. Boom. It was a surprise. It's like they slipped it in. Yes, you know it's coming, but that's part of the reveal. It's Hitchcocky, and it doesn't always have to be a jump scare or a surprise. Sometimes it's what's right in front of you that you don't see coming.
Which is exactly what they did with Bob Saget and Half Baked. You had this guy sitting in a rehab center. He stands up, says the best line.
But I feel like that's like, you can tune your friend. Was that Bob Saget?
I can't believe we're still debating this.
Where it's like,
Why?
it's so
Tell me
quick.
why.
I mean, come
Don't
on.
just shrug it off. That's rude.
Well,
Tell me
no,
why.
no, I'll tell you why. Because I feel like, there are not a lot of, amazing cameos to choose from, and that probably was scraping the barrel. I just feel like anyone could have done that.
I feel like I
disagree.
personally feel like it's so quick. You can turn to your friend and be like, "Was that Bob Saget? Oh, that was funny." But for the Bill Murray one, it actually gave something different. Here's the thing that I feel like is different between the three of us. Like I mentioned before, Bill Murray is playing Bill Murray. That to me, every time an actor plays an actor, it's tough. It's something to balance where you're like, are they going to really push themselves? Are they going to make fun
I
of
agree.
themselves?
That was the second best at this table.
It's funny because he's making fun of himself and he's playing a caricature of Bill Murray, something that you feel like, what would Bill Murray be like in the zombie apocalypse? That's what it would be like. He would be acting like a zombie, being an idiot, living in this giant mansion, and being Bill Murray, which is hysterical.
Okay, I'm using that as your final thoughts. Is that fair? You got okay, Yale. Sorry. Coming back to you. What was the reason yours is better than the other two surprises?
Here's the reason. When it comes to cameos, like I said, the things you want is something that's unexpected. Why would Bob Saget be in Half Baked? It's quick because he stands up, he says his hilarious lines. There are interactions from the audience. Someone who shouts, "I seen it!" That's one of the best lines also. And then it doesn't disrupt the story. The problem with both of yours is that they disrupt the story. What you want when you have a cameo, right? It's not a new character. It's not somebody who's part of the story. It's someone who shows up, makes you laugh. It sticks in the back of your head forever. You will always remember this hilarious moment when the dad from Full House. I want to say it, but I was told that children watch this.
Self bleep. I think it's fair. Self bleep.
You're like, I forgot the line.
It'll be worth it.
Marijuana is not a drug. I used to suck bleep for bleep. You ever suck bleep for marijuana?
Yeah.
That's the line.
I low-key feel like, boo this man is funnier in that scene. I'm just saying, boo this man.
But you
That's
remember
funnier
the scene.
than the Bob Saget
You
scene.
remember this scene that is so outstanding that he gets shouted about him sucking bleep for bleep on the street when he's with his daughters.
Yeah.
This is something that haunts him to this day, and he's very proud. It's the father from Full House who used to suck bleep for bleep, guys. That's what makes it a good cameo.
Yeah,
final thoughts.
Yeah, I totally got the joke. The thing with the film is, I don't mean to sound condescending.
It's playing hard.
I'm sorry.
I don't mean to sound condescending.
No. Well, here's
Go
the
on,
thing.
condescend me.
No,
Please tell me, white man.
It just hey, partial Native American. So now I'm offended. So here's the thing. You keep talking about serving the story and then a cameo. Yeah, with a crappy film that has to tack on, a cameo just to, be a talking point, yes, I guess you can have a cameo that serves no purpose. I don't feel that Johnny Depp and Peter DeLuise at all detracted just because they were able to integrate it. And the reveal, is pretty much as long as the Bob Saget scene. It's not like we were sitting with him like, Bill Murray. We weren't following the characters being like, all right, how long we have to sit through this? It was a reveal. It was a punch. And I just feel like it had a handicap. It came at you. You're expecting, where are these guys going to pop up? And you didn't see it coming in the first act. Extra points.
Whew! Wow, intense. Bravo. All right. It's just a game, guys. Dan.
To me, it's worth it just to hear you say the line. So I applaud you.
I'm glad she said the line. That was fun. Because people who don't know the line didn't know what you were talking about, and it's a great line.
How do they not know the line?
A lot of people don't know the line. Because not everyone's seen that movie. It's true. Not everyone's seen it.
I'm shocked.
It's a big line. Those are three. I think you all picked three greats. Dan, let's go to you.
I feel like there were several movie fights happening in that round. And some actual fights, too. Yeah, I feel like I thought Ace brought up a good point, and I feel like they kind of shrugged it off. I was like, oh, whatever you're being, but I thought Ace brought up a good point about not everyone necessarily connecting to the thing at 21 Jump Street. That kind of hit my head a little bit. Like that does that is a very generationally specific, and he was speaking from his own experience. So that was kind of a ding against that got me. And then, I don't know, I felt that Yale kind of got mixed up in like, what is a cameo? What's not a cameo? This was a cameo because it was short, but I didn't get much beyond this was a cameo because he said a funny line and it was really short and the movie moved on. And I thought that Ace presented the best argument about the effect on the movie, the performance, so I would have to go with him.
Thoughts?
Yeah, same thing as Dan. It's just overall, it was a more well-crafted argument, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, so I don't disagree. I think you made some great points, Yell, about the Bob Saget line and stuff. It is your point about the doesn't disrupt the story is where I'm arguing. Is that actually true? It's a valid point though in your argument, but that's where I was a little hung up. Does that actually true? Because I do think while Eben, maybe got a little intense there, he's a very nice guy. I know he didn't mean anything meanly. You should talk afterwards. He didn't mean it, I'm sure.
I love you.
Yes, he just sometimes you get in here. Yeah, please. Yeah, I'm sure that was just he didn't mean to do that.
It's how I talk. I'm from New York. I'm sorry. That's my handicap, and I'm an old man.
To apologize because I don't think you didn't mean to be rude. I imagine. Yeah.
Who's rude?
No, I'm just anyway. So, but my point is, you. I was joking. You said the fact that it was so written in and so smartly put into the film, and that he asked for him to come back. I thought you were at a disadvantage there, but then you made some very strong points to me of like that was a really clever thing. That he's such a big man. Why did he come back? They were so clever about it. I didn't think of that, so that was very good. That said, I gotta agree with the couch. I just think Bill Murray, just because Baxter Swayze would have been a good choice too, doesn't mean that what Bill Murray did wasn't iconic and sort of a very surprise moment. Yeah. So I gotta give Ace the point. But between these two, it's up to you online to make the vote. Who made the better argument is really what it's come about. Was it I bleep for bleep? Yell's argument. I suck bleep for bleep. Yeah. From Half Baked and Bob Saget. Vote for YT if you want to vote for that as a surprise cameo based on argument, or vote for EM for Eben for the Johnny Depp 21 Jump Street surprise cameo with Peter DeLuise.
I'm at a disadvantage.
Is he related to Dom DeLuise?
Yes. See, really? I'm at a disadvantage because people that watch 21 Jump Street aren't on Twitter. So the old man, I'm screwed. I'm all right with that.
I was like, Johnny Depp's in this movie. That's cool.
I'm all right with that.
I didn't know who was.
But you educated them on that.
Yeah, I served the purpose. I'm all right.
No, thank you all. Wonderful round. You guys will vote on round who comes back, and now I will bring back the first three winners to come on up.
Stay?
No, yeah, you stay.
Okay.
You are still here.
Thank you. That was actually my
good
second
fight,
choice.
you guys. That was fun.
I love that cameo.
Intense, but that was good. Thank you for playing hard. Here we go. We're bringing back. Sorry, we have Matt 1.
Ooh,
and
Matt.
Dave. Yeah. Matt, Dave, Ace. Intense. Now, the next round after this will be determined by your votes. So if you didn't go vote for the players, go on Twitter right now and you can vote for them. All those 3 rounds. The 3 winners of those votes will come back. They'll have a round, and then you guys will take them on in the speed round.
Got it.
Everything make sense?
Makes sense.
It does.
Yep.
Great. Now, this is round 4. Hopefully, Max prepared you for what we're arguing here. Yeah. Good. Okay. From Guests in the Name on Twitter, what was the worst movie to make $1 billion at the box office? Matt, you're up first.
There's a surprising number of choices.
There were, and what was interesting is all of you picked different movies.
Yeah, I was debating between 4 different movies, going, I hate all of these kind of equally, and it's amazing. But the one that I hate the most was the last Transformers. To beat a dead horse, guys, I'm going back to Transformers one more time. But Age of Extinction. I sat through that thing. Look, they took 100-foot robots and put them on 100-foot robotic dinosaurs, and I was so bored I wanted the movie to end right then and there. Like there's a point at which in the middle of the action they destroy a Bud Light truck, and Mark Wahlberg shamelessly just grabs it and is like, at the end of it, it's like, boom. Oh God, I just need a tasty drink right now. This isn't oh, is the label not perfect? Let me just readjust that label. I mean, you're already guaranteed to make $1 billion. We really need to put product placement in the middle of this crap fest of a movie, and it's interminable. It just keeps going and going and going. After 2 hours, I was done. After 2 hours and 20 minutes, I was done. I think the thing is like 2:28 or some ridiculous like that. It's just an abomination of a film. It is the worst film I've seen in a movie theater in probably the last 5 years or so. It is absolutely god awful terrible.
Dave.
Guys, it just doesn't get worse than Phantom Menace. It just doesn't. It's like you guys went into Transformers knowing what you're getting. You knew what you were getting. You just had a great argument for going in to know what you're getting. You go into Phantom Menace hoping to relive the childhood, hoping for that hope, and you get half of a movie talking about trade negotiations, racist characters, midichlorians, and the most unconvincing love story you've ever seen in your life. It just... Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks. It just doesn't get worse. That's it.
All right, Ace.
All right, Matt, I'm with you, brother. I hate Transformers, but you know what's worse than Age of Extinction? Dark of the Moon. Transformers Dark of the Moon is the perfect... it's literally like the perfect amalgamation of what makes a shitty Transformers movie. It's horrible human characters, horrible nonsensical action, all combined into one with actually more human characters than the nonsensical action, which is what people pay to see. I feel like out of the Transformers movies, because they're both shit, so I had to pick between which one was shittier. I picked Dark of the Moon because I feel like that one is the slightly shittier movie that has a love triangle in a Transformers movie with Patrick Dempsey and Shia LaBeouf and the model girl, which just spells out imagine Michael Bay trying to do a love triangle. That in itself is just the shittiest thing you can possibly imagine, and that's what we got in Dark of the Moon. So that's my choice.
Sorry, I'm not to show my cards here, but I'm going to need a little bit of education on which Transformers was which.
Okay.
Yeah. They all blend together for me? So in your arguments, make sure you help me clarify. I mean, I remember this is the Shia LaBeouf's last without Megan Fox.
Correct.
And yours is with the Dinobots and Mark Wahlberg. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
But still, I'm a little fuzzy, so make sure when you're arguing, you help me remember why that Transformers is worse than the other. Okay.
It's not a problem. I'm about to.
Okay, great. I remember all of yours, Dave. So you're okay.
Yeah. Okay, man. Yeah. Here comes the Star Wars fan in me. Here it comes. The Phantom Menace, man. Again, here is the generational thing, right? Because I was born in 1991. I was 8 years old when I saw the Phantom Menace. It gave us one of the best things out of any Star Wars movie that is still regarded, and you can ask any original person, the best lightsaber fight scene we have ever seen in any Star Wars movie, based on choreography, based on action, based on Darth Maul, or which one's better? To me, Darth Maul in itself sells Phantom Menace.
And then they kill
Darth
him.
Maul.
And then they kill him.
It's still... I don't want to cuss. It's still badass.
The problem with Phantom Menace,
badass.
The problem with Phantom Menace versus two Transformers is there are parts of Phantom Menace and characters that I love.
Yes,
that I love.
But
and the movie as a whole is terrible. But at the same time, I like
much worse than
Qui-Gon Jinn, Darth Maul, the lightsabers into the blast door, and when you go through that, like I got goosebumps.
It's cool. Droidicas
doesn't matter. It still has redeeming parts. Whereas like Age of Extinction, in the beginning, her boyfriend, Mark Wahlberg's daughter, is a stunt car driver or something in East Texas. That makes a hell of a lot of sense. And they go through, like, there's one point there, they go into a parking garage, and he just decides, I'm going to drive out of the third floor, and then there's a ramp below. So did he know there? Is this like a parkour for cars that I didn't know about?
That's what those movies are, though. That's what those movies are. They're pretty established. No, because what makes that movie good is, are there giant robots? Do they blow up things? Yes, it's a good movie.
But no, it's not. It's not a good movie. It's boring. It's dull. You have 100-foot robots fighting, and I couldn't care less.
But they're dinosaur bots.
Doesn't matter.
That's cool.
Phantom Menace, I enjoy. There are parts of it that I will still watch to this day.
Yes.
When they swim into Gungan City.
It's still a great fight
heartbreak overcapulates everything.
But here's
That's
the thing,
not a word.
But
I'm
that's
still
not.
using
We're
it.
not arguing what's the best movie that we had the best expectations for. We're arguing based on quality.
Yes.
And if you're going to
What's
argue
the worst movie to make $1 billion?
correct, and if we're arguing the worst, we're not saying heartbreak. We're not saying going into it we had expectations.
Did they
Doesn't
talk about
matter.
trade negotiations for
Doesn't
half
matter.
of the movie?
No, we have.
I was still more entertained than
do
that.
that.
Than I was at Age of Extinction. Age of Extinction is so dull. It's so
But
dull.
here's the thing.
There's like 5 different villains. You don't know what's
That-
going on.
As dull as that is, dude, at least you got Dinobots. At least you got
At least you
Grimlock.
do.
Didn't care.
At least you
Grimlock.
do.
Didn't care.
Ours didn't have Dinobots.
Here's
And
the thing.
Dark of the Moon had a love triangle with Patrick Dempsey, and it focused on Shia LaBeouf trying to find a job for an hour in the movie. An hour. And it also focused on a love triangle. When you go into the movie, you want to see action. You got more action in Age of Extinction. You got Dinobots. You got Optimus Prime
I still
riding
take-
on top of
Here's
the
the thing.
Dinobot.
Here's the thing. Dark of the Moon is
8-year-olds love that shit.
Dark of the Moon is an improvement to the previous film. It actually is, when you're going into it, it has more. It has this weird like moon story. It has this. They took out the racist characters. They put
They
in
took out the
plenty.
racist characters.
They
It
took
isn't
out-
really much of an improvement.
But it's an improvement.
It's still shit. It's still
It's
a
an
terrible
improvement of
movie.
the previous one. You go into it expecting as bad as the one I got, and it was like, hey, this one's a little better. It did better. It sold better. And
I
yours
disagree
was like,
because they gave us more human stories, which is what we don't want.
Which one's worse, Dave?
Phantom
which one's
Menace.
worse
Are those two
between the two?
Transformers? I'm curious.
I would say Dinobots. I would say that's worse.
It's
But
the worst
Dinobots
Transformers.
is still cool. Dinobots is still more
So are
fun.
Droidicas. When you saw
No,
those
I'm
things
sorry,
roll out,
but
they had
Phantom
the-
Menace shouldn't even
the
be.
They're
force-
not.
Yes, they are. They're awesome. The first time you saw those things, you were like, "That's a really
They
cool
waste
droid.
like
That is a
saber
really
fights.
cool droid."
Time is always something that Star Wars fans look at. And looking back at the Phantom Menace, you look at disappointment, but you don't look at the worst Star Wars movie. You look at a Star Wars movie that could have been better, but it still gave us Darth Maul. It still gave us the best
They
fight
gave
scene.
us Darth Maul, but
And
then they
still-
ruined him. They don't even
Plus-
use him
but
like they should.
They did. They gave him a 25-minute choreographed best fight
That's
scene.
great.
One
Make
on
the whole
two.
movie about
That
him
is
and not
awesome.
fighting like trade negotiations. Make the whole movie about him and not Jar Jar
My
Binks
whole movie was
bumbling
about
around
Shia
saying
LaBeouf
miso.
trying to get a job. Shia LaBeouf trying to get a job in a
Shia LaBeouf
Transformers.
is way better than Jar Jar Binks. He'll always be
But
better
Jar
than
Jar
Jar Jar
Binks
Binks.
isn't the primary character, where Shia LaBeouf is this entire
George
movie.
Lucas said Jar Jar Binks is what these movies are all about.
But he's
But
in
the same
it
time,
for
Jar
20
Jar,
minutes.
Jar Jar was geared towards him and his age when they came out, and they loved him. They loved him.
I
That
made
sold
him
that
more
sold
racist.
an entire
That's
generation
true.
on Star Wars anew.
It was
He
so
just
bad.
captured the imagination of another 100 million kids.
think of how cool-
Find that for me in Age of Extinction.
You watch
Find
you watch any of the Transformers movies, and you can put it on mute and just enjoy the visuals of it. The way Star
can do
Wars
that
is
with
shot,
Star Wars too.
You can't.
the way Phantom Menace is shot, it's so flat. They're obviously on green screen. It's just blank. They don't know what they're doing. With Transformers, it's like, whoa, that car turned into
Again,
a robot.
you-
That's cool enough.
You can't even understand the action that's going on. Michael Bay shoots
Yes.
everything so
At
close.
least you got an
when they're
amazing
fighting.
action
But
scene.
you're like,
Gets better with
I don't
every
know what's
movie.
happening. No, it doesn't. It gets worse.
The
it
action
gets
scenes
worse.
actually get better.
Doesn't matter.
No,
the
it doesn't.
overall product.
Swords,
Alright.
dinosaurs.
The overall
All right,
product
one
is
at a
worse every time.
Matt, why is Age of Extinction worse than Dark of the Moon?
Age of Extinction. It's one of those things of I got conned into going. My friend was like, "You have to go. I've gone to enough movies with you that I didn't want to see. You're coming
Was
to
it
this
Roca?
with me." No, it was not. And I didn't think the movies could actually get worse. I was at a point where just like the bar was set low enough for me and be like, you can't do any worse. And you sit through this and there's like 4 different villain storylines that all don't really pay off. There's numerous product placement. There's later one with Stanley Tucci with like a tea or a drink or something in China. There's muddled character motivations throughout the entire thing. And I walked out going, I don't understand the point of this other than to make things explode and steal people's money. And that's all it was to me, was just a cash grab, and we can sell this internationally, and we don't give, 2 shits about your feelings, enjoyment of going to a movie. We just want your money, and it was soulless.
And Dark of the Moon didn't do that too?
Age of Extinction was the straw that broke the camel's back. Transformers for me just got precipitously worse with every iteration, and that was the one where I was just like, dear God, you're not even trying. You just know that we'll make $1 billion no matter what. So let's hire more CGI animators and let's just get our free money.
All right, and then you give me again why.
That's the thing. What you just said right there. CGI animators. That's why people go see this movie. What Dark of the Moon did is not do that, and it gave us a Shia LaBeouf love triangle with a model and Patrick Dempsey, and it gave us a love triangle that's an hour into the movie, and it's also him trying to find a job. When people go into the Transformers movies, they don't want to see Michael Bay trying to sell you on a love story. They want to sell you on action, and as shitty as that is, and I agree with everything you just said, but the problem is it gave us Grimlock, and as much as everyone who was like ready to hate, they were like, well, at least Grimlock's in the movie.
Did you enjoy it?
No, but the thing is,
exactly.
Well, the Grimlock scenes are great. But
no, they're not. Go watch them again.
It's a
they're
dinosaur
terrible.
eating other freaking robots. It's fun.
But you don't care at that point.
It's great for action. It's great for CGI.
No, it's not.
But what it is, it's trying to fit in a love story and trying to fit in an actual character piece in a Michael Bay Transformers movie. It doesn't work, and that's why I feel like it's worse than Age of Extinction. Also, with Phantom Menace, it's so clearly not the worst billion-dollar movie, and it's also, as someone who saw it, and it's a different generation, because I feel like this is a generational thing. As an 8-year-old, Darth Maul is so freaking cool, and again, like you said, Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan, these are really cool things in the movie that it's not even on the same level as Transformers, and I feel like Dark of the Moon.
Look at the
did
love
all
story.
That times
look
10.
at the love stories.
All right, Dave, final thoughts here.
Okay, if you just look at the love stories itself, you're just seeing, okay, Shia LaBeouf is making out with a model, but that's great because they're both pretty. I don't care. In this, they try to be, are you a princess? 18-year-old meeting up with a 10-year-old, and this is the love story that's supposed to ignite the entire Star Wars world. It just falls so flat. Instead, they try to put some like the droid fights. It was so disappointing, and the heartbreak itself just makes it far worse. Also, it's not shot well. It's flat. They don't use practical effects as much as they could have, and it ends up being like not even visually interesting. It has one good one good lightsaber fight, but that one lightsaber fight is as good as all of those like Transformers movies put together, because it's just about action and visual. It's just about that. So it's like those are action visual movies that aren't about story. Phantom Menace is worse because it tries to have story. It tries to have heart, and it just can't do it.
And it succeeds at times.
It does.
That's the thing. It succeeds at
We're
times.
seeing it today.
They bog down in
I
world
agree.
building.
It's the worst
It
of the
bogs
series
down
of the
in world
franchise,
Clone
but
Wars.
it's still a better
Clone
movie.
Wars,
It
even now,
bogs
we're
down
still-
to midichlorians and world building.
We're going to bring up
and instead, it
midichlorians
doesn't
in The Last
focus-
Jedi.
That's fine.
It doesn't
It's still going to
focus
be
on
in
that.
there. It's still
Qui-Gon
in there.
Jinn, Darth
But it's
Maul.
Qui-Gon
I
Jinn.
enjoyed.
Listen, okay,
they're
so
all
my
great characters.
last thought is, when you're growing up on Transformers, you just want to be friends with a Transformer. And when you see Transformers, you feel like that's still possible. When you're growing up with Star Wars, you want to become a Jedi. And then you find out you can't because you don't have enough midichlorians, and it's supposed to be it's somehow genetic somehow, and that just breaks your heart, and that heartbreak is far worse than the third and fourth movie in a franchise where you already expect
quickly,
it.
Ace, and I'll give you, Matt, one last word. Go ahead.
Without Phantom Menace, we wouldn't have what we have now with Rey. That's just fact. What George Lucas brought into those movies, we have those things. We have the Clone Wars series, which is regarded as one of the best animated series now. That is based off the Phantom Menace. We have the Rebel series, which is a great animated series that is based off the Phantom Menace.
They could have just done Revenge of the Sith and have all those things.
That's absolutely
and it would have been
not
fine.
true, because we still have Darth Maul, and he was still in, and he gave us a fantastic moments in the Rebel series when he fought off against Obi-Wan. We wouldn't have
because
that
they
without
ruined
the
him
Phantom
in the
Menace.
first one.
I feel like the Phantom Menace brought a lot that a lot of people overlook. Dark
Matt?
of the Moon gave us too much human characters and great action.
Matt, final quick, because I let them talk more. I'm just being fair.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's nice to have the adjudicator on your side. Listen, think of it like this. According to Dante, there are 7 circles of hell. The Phantom Menace doesn't even sniff the circles. Age of Extinction is that inner, very concentric Satan's butthole of Dante's Inferno. It is the worst of the worst. You're in there with all the souls that can never be saved. They're beyond purgatory. They are in the depths of hell. And guess what? On repeat, all they're playing is Age of Extinction over and over and over, just to drive those mad people even further mad.
and that's Dark of the Moon.
Ooh, I need your help because this one was rough for me. Because I'll show my cards now because I'm on the fence. Matt really screwed up for me because he didn't mention going to China. He didn't mention the Juliet and Romeo clause, which was the way worse love story. When they pulled up the card and justified that she's a minor. So many things I didn't hear aside from just a lot of explaining that it's bad, but not enough telling me why it's bad, even though I personally thought that was the bad. And then Phantom Menace, they did knock them down by saying there are some good moments. And then Ace points out, well, that had Grimlock, and mine has a love triangle with Patrick Dempsey. I didn't get more than that either. So what did you guys hear that helped make you make a call?
It's all pretty close. I think I would side with Ace though, because nobody really said what was really bad about it, really. Like, and Ace, the one thing that you didn't pull out, you should have done the giant worm in the tower scene.
Awful.
That was the best part of the movie for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Very close edge, but I have to go with Ace on this one.
Dan?
Yeah. Here's why I had to go with Ace on this one. This is not my first movie fights rodeo, and I've heard many people argue these movies in separate rounds. I myself have argued all of them, and I heard Dave's argument. I hate the movie, and it's got this, and I heard Matt. I have railed against Age of Extinction so many times, and the product placement and the robot. But you could say that about Dark of the Moon too. So I was like, but I thought that Ace actually was like. He came at it as like, it's not even that it's product placement, and it's not even that it's robots. It's the story. It's the character. It's this and
right, which he even labeled down. With kudos, you remembered the story, which I didn't get from Matt. Much at all specific.
It's so disjointed though.
They go to a third act in China for no damn reason.
We don't have enough time to literally go point by point as to why. I'm saying in this movie fails so much. It's just like I don't have the time.
Room for
As a movie fights viewer, I have to go with the argument that hits me the best, and it felt like the greatest hits on the other two. And I thought I heard something a little bit different from Ace.
I thought Dave got a little close because he did give us reasons, but they were funny, so you were close, but. Those two movies are worse. They said it. They're true, and I got it because I didn't hear enough from why Age is worse. Ace gets the point. Ace, you're moving on to the final round. Bravo, Dave and Matt. Though, bravo, really good show.
Yeah, you guys are amazing.
That was tough.
Yeah.
You guys are both invited back. I'm very impressed with you guys. That was a wonderful showing. I may come back to ask you guys to chime in at the end, so stay tuned. But Ace, all you guys go back. Let's see who won our fan votes for the next 3 polls.
I've got them. Do you want to know?
Dan, yeah, you have them all?
I do.
All
I have them
round
all.
1, the winner fan vote is...
Round 1, the winner for the fan vote is... Mary.
Mary! Come on back. You earned another place, another chance to win this showdown. You guys can cross. There you go. All right. And then round 2, who won that one?
Round 2 is very close, but the winner for round 2 is Meg.
Meg. Come on back, Meg and Mary. Come on in. Hey, McCarthy.
Okay.
Round 3 it is a razor thin margin. I've just got to go where it's going right now. Right now it is 51-49 for Yale. So Yale comes back for round 3.
Ladies.
Razor thin margin. That one was going back and forth. It may still, but
Thank you.
you got to call it at some point. So Yale comes back for round 3.
Not expecting that.
Yeah, we're really close. Mine shows the other, but hey.
Listen, I'm looking at
close,
it right
so
now. It says 51-49.
Do
we can sit here and
do
wait
we make
for
them
it.
do a speed round?
We can sit here and wait for it.
This
but,
is, no, I guess, yeah, you called it. It is what it is. But man, that was close, you guys. Woo.
Yeah, I'm still seeing 51-49. So,
man, hey, you're here. You did it. That's the timing Matt worked.
Yep.
To everyone else, we'll bring you back to thank you all. Bravo. Here we go. This is now round 2. The winner of this round will take on Ace in the speed round to see who wins. Woo. This one comes in from Luke Lachlel. Sorry, Luke. I didn't say your name right. What 2 actors have the worst on-screen chemistry? All right, you guys know your answers, hopefully. Do you know? Good. Because we did prep you a little bit. Okay.
Yes, we got it.
Great, because I know you didn't know you were coming, but here we go. Meg, you were up first. Tell us, and
right.
sorry, you're in the short chair.
I am in the short chair. It's okay.
Good.
Yeah, there. We should lift. Yeah, you can lift it up if you hit the lever.
I think I'll just like.
Yeah,
I'll
there's
be
a little
okay.
lever on your left. If you lift that up, it'll go up a bit more. If you stand up,
my
you have to
right.
stand up. That'll
I feel
do
like
it.
I'm.
That way you're not blocked by the mic. There you go.
I did
Boom.
it. I did it,
All right,
guys. Okay.
which two characters have the worst on-screen chemistry?
All right. Well, Andy, I picked Pierce Brosnan and Denise Richards in The World Is Not Enough, and I'll tell you why. The only chemistry in this movie is between Denise Richards' boobs and that tank top. All right, because there is nothing going on between her and Bond in this one. All right, she plays a nuclear physicist. All right, I'm all about female empowerment. I'm like so excited. I'm with my girls up here. But I don't believe this woman's got brains. Like, she's got great boobs. Now, I'm not like necessarily a boob girl, all right? As you can tell, but I was so distracted by her boobs in this. Like, I couldn't even like think about anything else. And I feel like Pierce felt the same way. I'm not gonna lie. All right, she couldn't even act smart. Usually at the end of every Bond movie, all right, there's always that scene where he's making love with his Bond girl, and you're like, maybe this is the girl. Maybe they're gonna get like right off to the sunset and get married. Okay, you know it's not right. You know it's not gonna happen. But you're like, maybe, I don't know. But after this, I was like, no, just like hit it and quit it, Bond. Just hit it and quit it. Like, I did not want this to happen because there's no chemistry. It's like the first time where Bond, who makes all the ladies swoon, just there was like nothing there. It was nothing, all right?
All right.
That's
it. Yale.
I picked Dakota Johnson and Jamie Dornan from 50 Shades of Grey. The thing about 50 Shades of Grey is that Christian Grey is supposed to be this sexy, powerful man that makes you want to give yourself over to him. And
yes.
Anastasia is supposed to be this weak, doesn't realize she's a pretty girl who wants to explore her sexuality. And what we got were two stick figures who are afraid to touch each other. And, you know, he's got all these toys to play with, but he's like afraid to touch them, and he's afraid to have them touch her, and she's afraid to get excited. And it really didn't work for me, because when I go to see 50 Shades of Grey, I want to be in a room full of women that are going, yeah, we're basically about to watch porn together. And that's not what you get.
You brought a cucumber, didn't you?
I definitely did not.
Wow.
Did
All right,
not.
Mary, what are you picking?
Obviously, I'm picking Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
Which one?
Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
Because honestly, that's a love that was supposed to like spark an entire franchise that we already loved, and instead it almost killed a franchise. And that's not okay, you guys. That's really important love. And I feel like more rode on that relationship than most other relationships. Probably any other relationships ever in a Star Wars movie. And that was the one you decided to be the worst with. Also, how do you not have chemistry with Natalie Portman? She is beautiful and awesome. And
All right,
I'm
guys,
mad
fight
at
it
him.
out.
All right, I have a couple of stuff to say. First of all, Jamie's wife, I believe in real life, was very upset at the chemistry going on there, that she didn't want him to even do the second film. I feel like that was a thing that happened. And so then maybe there was some chemistry. Like, she felt it. You know, if Boy's wife felt it, then, like, we must have been feeling it,
She
all
must
right?
have not seen that interview where they're like super uncomfortable and you want to die watching it.
Uncomfortable because they're doing something under the table, maybe.
No, they really
and let's
weren't.
talk about uncomfortable, because this is part of my issue with the romance of 50 Shades of Grey. Okay, we're talking about two characters who have on-screen chemistry together that like love each other. Those aren't characters that are ever supposed to love each other. They're supposed to just like have a lot of sexual intercourse.
Get it done.
In a lot of
Obviously,
really
you've never read the
exciting
books.
ways.
No, 50 Shades of Grey is
Film.
supposed to take us. Right, I
Film.
understand that, but what you're missing is that this first film is supposed to be them getting to know each other and feeling the chemistry and growing into love in a relationship. So it's supposed to be there, and it's supposed to be such an attraction that they can't keep away from each other.
Right, but it's supposed to be a sexual attraction.
Yes.
So I think what you're missing there is the like sexual, like visceral, I want to like rip your clothes off and like, you know, do some things I'm not allowed to talk about in this era because hi children.
Yeah.
But I think the problem with Star Wars though is that you have an entire franchise that's resting on the finer workings of a relationship. You're not just talking about sexual attraction. It's easy for two hot people to be attracted to each other.
Apparently not.
It should be easier than it is, but I believe those two hot people were more attracted to each other than I believe that a Jedi was breaking all of his vows and everything he'd ever worked for a girl that he kind of was like lukewarm
But
on.
because of that chemistry, we get one of like a really famous quote from Star Wars. I'm probably going to misquote it, but you're breaking my heart. I mean,
but
I felt that. I felt that.
Was she breaking his heart?
Natalie Portman is such an amazing actress that I will always believe any chemistry that she has.
Yes,
but let's talk about Denise Richards' boobs for a second.
Oh yeah.
The thing
okay,
is,
sure. Like,
question.
let's do it.
I do have a quick question about that.
Okay.
Were you personally so distracted by Denise Richards' boobs that you didn't notice there was chemistry or not happening? Because I feel like that might be part of it.
That must be part of it. But
they
also,
are out there.
They are so out there
And, like,
that there's
congrats
no way
for
that
her.
he should. No, I think I was jealous, but there's
isn't
no
that-
way.
But I think that's the
isn't
thing is
him
you're
looking at her
he's
boobs? That's
seeing them.
chemistry.
No, that's not chemistry.
That is a physical,
No, girl,
physical,
that's exactly
visceral
what you're
reaction.
saying
That's
about
not
that's
chemistry.
No,
Chemistry,
that's not chemistry.
not
A lot of
romantic
people-
chemistry.
Go ahead. You want to reply? Yeah.
I'm just saying that's just manhood and it's, that's not chemistry. That's, getting distracted. But the point is that 50 Shades of Grey, all right, a lot of people, whether we like it or not, think there's chemistry there. Same thing with Hayden and Natalie. But no one remembers The World Is Not Enough for the chemistry. No one cares. People were so disappointed in Denise as a Bond girl because there was no chemistry. This was just like such an upset.
Well, I actually think that's a really great point that no one cares.
Thank you.
Because straight up, no one cares about the chemistry of Bond and some Bond girl because there are so many Bond movies. But this was the
Exactly.
one and only Darth Vader. And the one and only Darth Vader couldn't convince me that he was in love with a beautiful, amazing queen.
But that's the thing. There's so many Bond girls.
I'm sorry, the one and only Darth Vader story that's been officially made canon in a film that's been released in feature that's not animated.
But you brought up a good point. Because there's been so many Bond girls, Bond has always been able to have chemistry with all of those women. All right? Even the ones that were, the characters weren't as developed or no matter what. But like this one, there was zero chemistry. That's got to stand for something.
But see, here's the thing is that you have a future in this relationship regardless of what happened in that movie. We know there is a future in that relationship. And Bond sleeps around and gets new women all the time. Whereas this was the first of a trilogy.
That's why we watch Bond films. We watch them for the Bond girls and we watch them for that relationship.
All right, let her finish.
As I was saying, it was the first of a trilogy. And if it didn't work, there was a chance that it was going to ruin everything. They wanted to recast him. There was so much riding on this relationship that it mattered, and they had to go together and learn to have chemistry, whereas they were going to end up together regardless.
Right, but the whole driving force of even making those stupid prequels in the first place, and it starts off with, you have a 10-year-old and an 18-year-old trying to have chemistry, which we discussed previously in a different round, not what we're discussing now. But I mean, you have this love story that literally this love story defines the trajectory of whether Darth Vader is good or bad. And the three movies that we already love from the 70s and 80s, we saw that payoff. And to see something's payoff, to see the result of something and go back to the root cause and be like, oh really? Like you're trying to tell me like that's what caused this? Like I love this character and I love this world you've built and like this is the crap that it came from. Like you couldn't do better casting. Also, Hayden Christensen is just a terrible actor.
Wait, did you say they couldn't do better casting than Natalie Portman?
Than Hayden Christensen.
Okay,
but was
because
it
Natalie
about
Portman was great.
No, Natalie Portman. I am team Natalie Portman, y'all.
Yeah, but if you have
was it-
one good person, she carries it. She carries
But
it
she
alone.
doesn't.
We have two
That's my
terrible
point.
people.
You have one good person in this movie who should be able to carry it, and instead she doesn't carry it. She literally carries it in every other movie she's ever been in, with so many romantic love stories with so many different people. Kind of actually similar to what you're saying about Bond. He carries it in all these other movies. Whereas in 50 Shades of Grey, they had one relationship, they had one person they had to pretend they were in love with on screen,
and they couldn't.
And it's like right, but
and they were unable to. We
and
see
yet,
the scenes
those
where they
movies
first meet, and he's supposed to fall in love with her when he looks at her. She's supposed to change everything and make him not want to do what he does, and everything. And you look at it and go, it looks like you just saw a girl pick her nose. Like, why are you looking at her and being like, oh, I'm in love? No.
Sure, but people
50
still
Shades
like
of Grey
those
is
movies.
also a terrible movie.
That's to be fair.
That's what's really tough about this is that it's a terrible movie. So I don't know if any chemistry could save it. So I don't think maybe the chemistry was not as much an issue with 50 Shades of Grey as it was just the writing and the overall movie.
Yeah, but
exactly the
chemistry
same with Phantom Menace is that, or no, you didn't pick Phantom Menace. I'm sorry. Same
all
with
good.
Hayden and Natalie is that I hate to say it, but the writing in the prequels is atrocious.
Yeah,
it's
and
not good
quality
writing.
chemistry.
And so
And quality-
you don't know how those screen tests. They might have had great screen tests where they were feeling it, and then once they got their lines, they're just like,
No.
well, I mean, and
They didn't
part
do
of
that.
my problem with this
I know,
happens
guys,
in
I don't know.
50s.
Well,
But
part
the
of the
thing is, with terrible writing, good chemistry can make you forget that the writing is terrible.
I don't know when though.
An
When does that
actor's
happen?
job is to make bad writing sound good. That is literally your
That is
job as
very
an
true.
actor.
Exactly.
And like when you have an
Exactly.
actor that has proven how good of an actor they are, like Natalie Portman, and she can't do that with somebody, that is the fault of that actor's chemistry. And so you know what? I'm not even saying it's the two of them. I'm saying it's him. He has the worst romantic chemistry
like Denise
of any
Richards.
person in any movie ever
See,
of all
you both
time.
have said that it's one person on yours. Both of my people sucked.
All right, great. Fine. Closing. You can add more if you like, but
Thank
again,
you.
why is I believe all yours are the worst. Why is it worse than the other two? Last thoughts. Going to you, Meg.
All right, so basically Bond, it's all about the Bond girl and Bond at the end. It's going to make us think something, going to make us think that this is it, that this is his lady, and we got nothing here. At the end of the Bond girls, at the end of the Bond movie, it was just vapid. It was awful. This made a bad movie even worse. Their chemistry was, I feel like these answers are a little more obvious. Like, think about it. Like, when you're a Bond girl, that's like high expectations right there. This relationship is something that we're supposed to leave and we're supposed to be jealous of it because Bond is just like best guy, just like top of the line. And we got nothing with this. And all we got was boobs. That's all we got.
All right. Yael, what do you think? Final thoughts.
When you have a story like 50 Shades where it's so heavily reliant on the characters because the story is so ridiculous and it's kind of abusive and offensive to the BDSM community, what you need to do is you need to have people that you believe are in love with each other. You need to have a man that you believe is not only going to take you, introduce you to new things, and then take care of you, and a woman who is weak and wants to learn and wants to discover herself. And what we got were two shells of people. We got a sad portrayal of people who clearly have never been in love. And Dakota Johnson's parents are actors. You expect her to be better. You expect her to know what she's doing. And Jamie Dornan has done well in other things, but I guess when he's the lead all by himself, he can do it. He can't show you a relationship, and you can't fall in love with these characters, which somehow, even in that terribly written book, you feel something for them. Yet in the movie you go, yeah, I don't want to watch this. I'd rather watch real porn.
Mary?
I think the biggest difference here is that Star Wars is something that means so much to so many people. And anyone who's ever been in love and been in a relationship, I think you care a lot more about a relationship when you actually love the person that you're with. And for me, Star Wars was a franchise that I loved, and that love let me down. And it ruined so many things about that franchise. And I think for me, it's those high stakes of that it mattered so much to so many people. I mean, Star Wars isn't just a franchise, it is the franchise. And I'm sorry if you disagree with me, but it is. Literally, like, this is a relationship and a romance that an entire world and mythology and lore are based off of, and you couldn't sell it. And that's a problem.
Oh, man. Hey, guys, really brought it. That's a hard one for me.
Men.
Adam, Dan, I'm going to get to you both. Thoughts on the couch? Anything to add, Dan?
Nothing to add. I'm just kind of going it over in my head. I'm a big Bond fan.
Yep.
And I never watched it for the relationship, if I'm being honest. So that really didn't ring true to me that you'd be disappointed in the relationship at the end, because, like, I maybe it's just me. So for me, it was.
But I did like her line of maybe this is the girl for him. That was a good thing she said, because you do leave those movies like, Bond's gonna end up with that one.
Wait, no.
not this time.
Most guys want to be Bond, but most girls watch that and they want Bond. They want to be with Bond. So it's a little different of a different
fair.
perspective there, Dan.
Well, I admit, perhaps so. I personally have never walked out of a Bond movie going like, I hope he's found the love of his life. Wouldn't that be great?
But that's kind of the way they've
movie,
gone.
yeah.
That's kind of the way they've gone.
All right, fair
that's
enough.
just me.
It's all right, Dan. It's okay.
However, I think that Yale actually did the best for me as far as describing both parties, why the movie didn't work, why they didn't work, in particular, both in real life and on screen. I thought that was the best argument for me, so that's kind of...
You agree, Adam?
Yeah, Mary and Meg both said that half of theirs were great. Like, Natalie Portman's so great and everybody wants Bond, and then Yale just... That was a death blow when she said it. It takes two people.
Hey, Mary, what did I underline here?
2.
What two actors have the worst chemistry on screen? Chemistry, and I think Yell pointed that out, and then you both sort of admitted you had someone in there that was okay.
Damn it!
And once I heard that, I was with them as well. That they're really both terrible in 50 Shades.
They really are.
So
They really
yeah, I'm glad you came.
Like, we agree. Like, we agree. Like, it's fine. Like, you can take this one.
I'm glad you
Like,
came back because now you're staying in the final round. Bravo! All right, Mary and Meg, though, thank you. We'll give you proper plugs at the end. Let's wrap this show up, though. Yell, you're staying there.
Okay.
Ace, come on in.
You can do this.
We are moving to the speed round.
Well,
No pressure, guys. Here's how the speed round works. You've both done it on TV fights, right?
yeah.
So you know how this works. You'll
I
get
going
20
here or
seconds,
here?
then 10-second rebuttals. Here, right? So we can have a close-up? Sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, you get 2 close-ups, right? Yeah. All right, here we go. 20 seconds, 10-second rebuttals. If you both say the same answer at the same time, it's whoever said it first. Here we go. This is a creative answer, just so you know, or a real answer, but you got to think a little harder. What actor would be the worst possible choice to play Batman?
Jamie Dornan.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Ooh. All right, Jesse Eisenberg and Jamie Dornan. Yale, you went first, so whenever you're ready, the time will start when you start speaking.
Jamie Dornan, who is best known for 50 Shades of Grey and the sequel, and he's also known for the Fallen, I believe, and he is not very good at being a hero. He's not very good at being romantic, and part of being Batman is you gotta win hearts and save people.
Okay, I feel like Jamie Dornan brings a lot to the fall, actually. He shows a little bit of personality. Jesse Eisenberg not only doesn't fit the physicality of Batman, because Batman is known for being the physicality, but Jesse Eisenberg is known to being one of Hollywood's most unlikable actors, and this presence is one of the most unlikable presence on screen. So I feel like that really knocks off for Batman, and the whole thing about being Batman is you want to be like him.
Jesse Eisenberg adapts to his roles, and that's something that he can do. He is willing to take risks, whereas Jamie Dornan is kind of the same character all the time.
Bruce Wayne is someone who is a confident businessman. Jamie Dornan has already shown to do that in one of his movies. I feel like Jesse Eisenberg not only has proven that he can't take on physicality of certain roles, but he's just a presence that you do not like on screen.
You get 2 extra seconds.
I disagree that Jamie Dornan did it well.
Okay, even the time there.
Thanks.
Adam, coming to you first. Based on the arguments.
Based on the arguments, I'm gonna have to go with Ace. He gave me a little bit more, and he also said that Jamie Dornan has shown that he can do the business thing before.
Whether it was right or wrong, he has. Yes, that's true. Dan?
Yale came out of the gate slow for me, but she actually won me over at the end by saying, well, you know, Jesse Eisenberg actually adjusts and takes risks, whereas Jamie Dornan is kind of one note, and she won me over. I was with Ace until then.
That's what I wrote too, and that was my note. I'm in the fence, but I agree. I slightly over. Yes, he played it, but then she did even counter. He didn't play it well, so that helped out counter that base. So I got to give Yale the first point. Woo! Still anybody's game. Here we go. In honor of Mother, which a film I did not like, but several probably will. So go make your own judgment call. Who's the best mom in movie history?
Oh, this is tough.
He said it, not me.
Oh yeah, that is your line, huh?
Pick a mom.
Charlotte Hayes in Lolita.
Okay.
The 97 version.
Oh man, I'm terrible at these.
Just verify that, Dan.
I'm trying to find out
if that's correct. Ace, you just have to name a mother in a movie.
Yeah, that
Played by Melanie Griffith.
I'm just
Jeremy
I'm
Irons?
confirming the character first, but yes.
Okay. Ace, you need to name a mom in a movie.
I guess Martha Kent in the new Man of Steel movie.
Which?
Man of Steel,
Man of Steel.
2012.
Diane Lane. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and Yale, you're up first.
Charlotte Hayes was a mother who was looking. She was a single mom, and she chose to let a man come and stay in their home so that they could pay the rent. She took care of her daughter. She protected her, and she tried to be the best mom that she could. Yep.
I feel like what Diane Lane brought was a lot of tenderness and a lot of heart to the role of Martha Kent. I feel like the one scene that she has with child Clark where she's hugging him after he has that x-ray vision, that scene in itself sells the love that Clark has for his mom. And even when he comes back home after Pa Kent has died, that whole chemistry is brought together by her performance.
You have one scene that gives you chemistry, whereas the whole first act of Lolita is the mom showing how much she cares for her daughter.
Yeah.
And how much that she...
I'm not saying one scene. I'm saying that one scene brought a lot out of it. I think there's several scenes that show her warmness and her tenderness and her ability to connect to the actors and the characters of Clark Kent. And that's eventually what obviously he fights for.
Is that all the time? Did she get the equal time? All right. All right. Good. Guys?
I think this argument might be more about what wasn't said. I think I'm still going with Ace, however. Right? Yeah.
All right, we're on with Ace. All right, close though. Good
No
job.
Lolita fans?
Creative there.
Oh,
Okay.
no, that's why I said this is more about what it wasn't said.
All right. Which movie should I'm going to name two.
Okay.
It's not broad. Which movie should Jim Carrey reboot? Ace Ventura or The Mask?
The Mask.
Ace Ventura.
Oh, okay. You both picked different. Yell picked The Mask, and Ace picked Ace.
Yeah.
All right, I heard Mask first.
The Mask was such a beloved movie, and it was so fun, and people still have great memories of it, and that's why it should be remade. Whereas Ace Ventura, it was funny, and there were 2 or however many, but The Mask was a standalone, and it was so beloved, and there was a great history to the story of The Mask itself that gave you this great mythology, which made it so beloved to...
I feel like there's still moments in Ace Ventura that we remember and that my friends and I quote and that we can reenact, like the moment where he's going off-road and everyone's bouncing around. I feel like that's hysterical in itself. I feel like The Mask is just one item and something that you can put almost any actor in, whereas what Jim Carrey brought to Ace Ventura is his own personality, his own comedic value, his own comedic timing that is completely original to him.
I disagree. I think The Mask is such an amazing character that pretty much only Jim Carrey could do. He did all these physicalities and beautiful voices that only he can do, and it's such a quotable...
I feel like The Mask is more based on what that is. It's The Mask, whereas Ace Ventura is based on the character itself, where only Jim Carrey can embody that character, and the comedic timing for that character is done through that.
That's the time?
That's the time.
Ooh, yeah. I thought, Jim Carrey it needs to be in both of those roles. He shows himself in both of those roles. So I got a little lost in Ace there. What did you guys think on the couch?
That was really close. I think the thing that won me over was Yale talking about how The Mask might have a bit of a deeper mythology to it. So I kind of side with her on that.
Ace kind of doubled up on both of his speaking points.
I played the same point twice.
Yeah, twice.
There we go. We're on the same page. Yeah, you got a second point. Ooh. All right, guys. Best movie based on a TV cartoon series.
Josie and the Pussycats.
On a cartoon series?
On a TV cartoon series. Best movie.
Batman Begins. Based on Batman the Animated Series? Can I do that?
No.
Or only a cartoon series?
Yes. Yeah. Needs to be like a cartoon adaptation.
I'm terrible at these.
JT just fainted in the booth.
Yeah, what's going on?
5, 4, 3.
I'm really bad at these. I'm sorry, guys.
2. Any movie that was based on a TV cartoon. 1.5.
Scooby-Doo.
There you do. You did it.
That is.
You could have said Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could have said that, right? That was the animated
that
series.
would have.
But you can't say that now because you picked Scooby-Doo. Josie, they were the same universe too, right? Wasn't it both Hanna-Barbera, right?
I believe they.
Yes. Josie, Yell, you're up first, and then Ace is up with Scooby-Doo. Go ahead, Yell.
Josie and the Pussycats was a fun movie that had a lot of big stars in the movie. Tara Reid, Rosario Dawson. It was an amazing film that, showed sisterhood and friends, and there was music, and there was amazing product placement that was part of the plot, and that was really fun. And it just was this great movie that reminded you of how fun that show was as a kid, even though it was a different story.
I feel like what Scooby-Doo brought was it brought that cartoon to life. It was the cartoon in an actual movie, whether it was Freddie Prinze Jr. playing his character, or Sarah Michelle Gellar, or Shaggy. I feel like those are the cartoons coming to life, and as cheesy and as over the top that's what you wanted in the cartoon, because the cartoon was cheesy and it was over the top, and that's what we got in the movies because that's what it delivered.
Scooby-Doo was too on the nose. It was too easy, and what Josie and the Pussycats did was take the characters and bring them into our world and make them more relevant and approachable and give you this whole other story.
I feel like Scooby-Doo is for kids in the cartoon, and they made a live action movie for kids. It was funny for kids, and it did that in the recreation of bringing it to life with the same outfits, the same clothes. It was very authentic.
That's all the time? Yes. Ooh, tough for me. Yeah, any thoughts to...
No, it's pretty easy for me. I thought that Ace was just kind of giving us Scooby-Doo facts.
It's a cartoon come to life.
And y'all actually gave me some good stuff about the movie.
Yeah, so I did not miss anything. Okay, good.
Yeah, I was going with y'all on that one.
Sisterhood, fun, Yell, sort of did that, right?
Yeah, I was a little bit more on the fence than Dan was, but with Yale saying that they did something different and they took something that we loved, but also did something different.
But Scooby-Doo did wear the same costumes. That was a good point. I still got to give point to Yell, which means Yell, you won! Wow! Bravo! You did it! Bravo! You were wonderful. Everyone, come on up here as we do our plugs. I want to make sure I thank all of you. But you get our first plug. AfterBuzz. Where would you like people to find you?
Find me everywhere at Yell Teagle. That's YAELTYGIEL. And there you'll find all the info that I do things.
Yes, bravo! Now you have to come back. You have now become a regular if you were willing to do that.
Absolutely.
Woohoo! Welcome to the roster. But I want to thank everybody here. Take a turn at that mic when I call your name. But Ace, second place. You get to go next. Bravo!
Thank you.
Schmoes Know, obviously. Anything else you want to plug?
Schmoes Know, my YouTube channel at Squad Leader Ace, where I talk about anime because I love anime, and also a new podcast coming out on the SK Plus channel, which is a spin-off of the Schmoes Know. It's called The Meaning Of, talking about film. So yeah, check me out there.
Love it. Check it out. We love them. Mary, Riss, come on up to the mic. What would you like to plug?
You can just find me on all of social. My handle is at @MRisque. MRISQE. It's on the screen. You can see it.
Matt Nost, host of the Top 10 TV show, or Top 10 show.
Former TV show.
Yes.
That's all right.
That's all right. I'm going to screw that up. Matt, what else would you like to plug there?
Nothing. Just find me on the Twitter handle. I can give them all the information once they reach out to me there. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. You were great. Brett Register, DC All Access, DC Kids. What else you got?
Yeah, watch that. I got a podcast with Steve Zaragoza. It's been on this show. It's called The First Time Show, or it feels like the first time. At First Time Show on Twitter, and we're going through Lost 2 episodes at a time. I never saw it, so it's my first time through. We're on the finale, so catch up quick.
Sorry. Have fun with that. From Movies with Meg McCarthy.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me. This was a blast. Just find me on social at Movies with Meg Jo. Right there. Cool. Thank you.
Bravo. Dave Child. Man, he really brought the energy.
Hi, sorry for screaming.
We love it.
And pointing at everyone. You can find me at MrDaveChild or DaveChild.com. I do a bunch of AfterBuzz shows. And
you can say MR, not Mr.?
Yeah, say MR because Mr. It's like them that
how do you
spell it
spell
out.
Mr.? Fair, okay.
And now it's MR, so just find me there. I do a dance troupe too.
Ooh, he does. Michelle, Chubby Bunny, Nguyen.
Hi, you guys can find me everywhere on the internet at I Am Chubby Bunny. I also have a weekly anime show called Hyper Otaku, which is on Hyper RPG's Twitch channel every Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Bravo. Thank you for coming, Michelle. Evan McGar, Mad Monster. Where can people find you?
MadMonster.com, Instagram, at MadMonstergram, Twitter, Mad Monster Mag, and just Mad Monster.
Google Mad Monster. Bravo,
Mad
sir.
Monster.
Thank you, all of you guys. You have so much fun. You really brought it. It was always this was a great format because you all came so ready to fight, and I want all of you to come back if you're willing. Thank you for doing it. Dan Merle on the couch.
Yes. Can I plug something for us?
Yes.
A week from tonight, I will be Florida State. My alma mater was nice enough to invite me to come do a Q&A. A week from tonight, I'll be at the Student Life Center at Florida State with Alicia Malone. We'll be doing a Q&A after Wonder Woman. So if you're in Tallahassee, if you're at Florida State, it's free if you're a student. It's $10 if you just want to come hang out. But next Thursday night at 7 o'clock, the movie's at 7, the Q&A's after.
Next Thursday, you won't be here, you'll be there.
I'll be in Florida.
Which is a bummer because next Thursday, Max Landis will be here.
Oh, wow.
Woo! So get excited for that fight. Adam Tier, thank you for coming. You were great. You offered a lot of smart comments there. Thank you for chiming in. I needed help today, and you brought it. What would you like to plug?
Just a shout out to my buddy John, who's serving overseas in Japan.
Yes, John. Shout out to John for sure. Thank you to John, and thank you to you, Adam, for coming and watching and being a fan. That's it. That's all we do. You can find me at Andy Signor, Twitter, Instagram, and all the other things. Please be nice to everybody and have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye.
This episode is brought to you by T-Mobile. Want to hear how America's best unlimited network is upping their game? Now get Netflix included with your family plan. There's never been a better time to switch.